I told you there's a magic number, an age, where waiting just 5 years could cost you over $70,000, would you want to know it? The truth is, when it comes to retirement, everyone says start early, but most don't. Nearly half of Americans say they regret not starting sooner. So today, I'm going to show you the age where waiting stops being harmless and starts becoming expensive. And if you're past that age, don't worry, because this episode is about hope, not guilt. Let's go.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror. Where future success is reflected in our knowledge of fixing the one thing we can control, ourselves.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror, and thanks for joining me today as we continue to work to improve the one thing that we can control, ourselves. Here at the Financial Mirror, it is not about the numbers and spreadsheets alone, but about transforming and educating you on money so that you can make smarter financial decisions. If this is the first time you're joining in, don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube to be notified of all the new episodes as they release. If you're listening to this on Rumble, don't forget to follow the channel and like the video. And on any podcast platform of your choice, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. So imagine this. Two friends graduate college at, let's say, 22 years old. One starts investing just $500 a month in her retirement account from day one. The other says, I'll start later when I make more money. Common excuse that young people say when they're putting off retirement. At 65, the first friend has over $1.1 million. The second finally starts at 32, ends up with less than half as much, $574,000. Waiting just 10 years cost them over $500,000. Today, I'm going to answer one simple question. What is the ideal age to start saving for retirement? And what if you've missed it, right? I'm going to cover both of those. So the thing is that everyone says you should start early, and everyone knows they should start saving early. Like, it's literally the one thing that, besides budgeting, that everyone knows when it comes to finances that you should do. You should invest in your 401k. You should do that early. You should, if you don't have a 401k, that's fine. You should open an individual retirement account, like something to start investing, even a brokerage account, something to start investing, yet most people don't. CNBC in an article found that 40% of Americans say they're behind on retirement savings, and 45% say their number one financial regret is not starting to save earlier. So here's the kicker. When people are asked what the ideal age is to start, the average answer is 27. But most financial planners say start earlier, right? Because when it comes to retirement, time is your most valuable asset. You can't buy it. You can't get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And the number one contributor to financial growth is compound interest. And what does compound interest rely on? Well, compounding interest over time, right? So I want to break it down clearly, simply, with real numbers. So by the end of this episode, you'll know that the real ideal age and what to do if you're behind. Number one thing that I want to tell you is it's never too late to start. So regardless of what the age is and regardless of what your age is, it's never too late to start when it comes to investing. Okay. So let's start with that magic word. I hit it, and I'm going to just kind of break it down for you real quick. Compound interest. It's how that works is you're not just earning interest on the original money. So if you put in $500, you're not just earning interest on the $500. You're earning interest on the $500 plus any other interest that you've earned over time. So it's really, and then if you're still contributing, you're still earning, the money is still growing, and you're still earning more interest on top of that. So you can see that it's kind of like you're planting an apple tree. The tree grows apples, you plant the seeds from those apples, and now you've got more trees and you make more apples, right? It's just a simple idea of compounding through multiplying the resources that you've got allocated to, in this case, investing. Give that process decades, and you suddenly have like a whole orchard of apples. Suddenly, if you've been investing, you've got a very, very large account that you can start to leverage. So just running a simple example, you are able to see this. So I did want to pull up, and one of the common compound interest calculators I use is the investors.gov calculator. And I've linked to this a lot, but imagine you start saving $500 a month, and we're going to say you start at zero, right? So initial investment is zero, $500 a month until you are 65, right? And let's say what do we want to go with? Let's go with 20 years old. So you're 20 years old, so 65, you're going to be 45 total years at $500 a month. By the time you are, and let's assume, and I just want to assume, let's say an 8% return. By the time that you are 65, you would have $2.3 million if you just saved $500 a month from 20 to 65. Okay. Maybe you're 25, right? Maybe you're 25 and you're only got 40 years, right? Still $500 a month and you've got $1.5 million, right? Still pretty good, right? Still pretty good. Now, what if you drop that again and now you're 30? You're 30 years old and you're going to 65, right? Now we're down to $1 million for that same $500 a month. Now, we've taken and we've gone a total of 10 years. We've gone 10 years, and you can see that we've gone from 1 million to 2.3 million in those 10, or from 2.3 million to 1 million in 10 years. 10 years, we've lost $1 million. Just like that. Just like that. Waiting 5 years to get started, 500,000, right? 500,000. It's really more like 800,000, but because if we drop that to 40, we go from 2.3 to 1.5, right? So it's more like 800,000 that you've lost. Lots of money that you're wasting or leaving on the table by doing that. And if you go to, let's say 40 years old and you've only got 25 years to invest, that same 500 is getting you under $500,000. So that's the power and the danger of compounding. The earlier you start, and the less the heavy lifting you have to do. So what is the actual ideal age to start? Well, first off, let me define what I consider the word ideal. Like when I think of the word ideal, what does that mean? Well, when I'm thinking of ideal and how I'm approaching this episode, is this the last age where waiting doesn't make saving extremely painful, right? Because most people put off investing because it takes money away from doing other things. That's really the number one reason that people put off investing. So what I was trying to find is, what is the last age where waiting doesn't make, eventually you have to start, right? You eventually have to start, or you just retire broke. So eventually you have to start. So what is the last age where waiting doesn't make saving extremely painful, extremely uncomfortable? Because before that age, you can save modestly and still retire comfortably. After this age, you have to save so aggressively that it becomes genuinely hard. So what is that age? What is the age where it's not extremely painful to all of a sudden start saving for retirement? Well, based on math, the line is really around 27, right? What everyone talks about, there's some facts to why that is, right? There's some facts to why that is. The biggest thing when we think about what it takes to really start saving for retirement is coming up with a number that you can effectively save without too much heartache And when most people are saving for retirement, they try to take on more than they can really handle. When they start out, they say, well, I'm going to save $1,000 a month, when knowing that $1,000 is super hard to find in their budget anyways, but yet they're going to put it into investing somehow. So the number one thing that people do is they try to really amp up how much they're going to save, and it becomes very painful. So when I came up with the 27 and kind of looking at the math that comes out to, I'm going to be a little bit more lenient on my returns. I'm just going to say a 6% return, a 6% return. So actually we'll do 8%. We'll do 8% return. So if you started out at, let's say 22 years old and you did $500 a month, you're going to come out at $1.9 million, right? That's at 22, $500 a month, $1.9 million. That is comfortable. Is 1.9 a lot? Yeah, that's a pretty good retirement nest egg. When we're thinking about it though, $500, and I want you to keep this in mind, $500 assumes that you're going to do $500 until you're 65. That's like assuming you're not going to get a raise. That's assuming that you're not going to change jobs and make more money. That's assuming that what you can afford at 22 years old is all you'll ever be able to afford, and you could still walk away with 1.9 million, right? But let's say you start at 27, right? You do the same $500 investment and you go to 65. Well, you're at 1.3 million, right? 1.3 million. And I tell people that, like, I think that a lot of people have a goal or they're really want to hit that $1 million nest egg. And $500 is a fairly comfortable amount to invest at 27. Like, most people have graduated college. If they didn't go to college, they're deep in a career, and they're probably making decent money, right? And they could probably set aside $500 a month. Like, that's not out of the ordinary for a 27-year-old, right? For a 27-year-old. Now, that's when we break this down, that's when we can start to see that starting at, let's say 32, 5 years later, we're under our $1 million mark. So now, instead of $500 a month, you might be investing, let's say $650, right? $650 just to get back over $1 million. So now it's $650 a month. You see what I'm saying? So from 27 to 33, 5 years drops you to where you're no longer investing $500 a month. You're at about $650. Big difference. Big difference. And if you go, let's say, to 37 and go 5 more years, that same $500 a month is going to put you at $500K. And I'd be honest, I think that the total is like, is it 900-ish? Yeah. 900 puts you at $1 million. So you're saving almost $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month if you start at 37 to get to less than you would have had at 27, right? If you would have just done 500 at 27. Just done 500 at 27. So 900 at 37 was $1 million, and you've got 1.3 million with 500 at 27. That's the difference. That's the difference. Every 5-year delay is cutting your final balance. Every 5-year delay. So if you want to cost yourself 10, 15% of your income and still build, $1 million nest egg, you need to start in your mid to late 20s. You need to start in that 25, 26, 27, maybe 28 age range. Because if you wait beyond 30, you will have to literally start to almost double your savings rate to catch up. And you still have to do it every month. Every month you're paying and paying and paying and paying and paying. And it's hard. It's hard. And that is where it's extremely painful. And that's where I came up with this ideal age, 27. 27 is your ideal age to find something comfortable like $500 a month that most people can squeeze out of a budget and invest and be okay. And be okay, right? And maybe it's $500 and you're getting like a 401k, 403b matching contribution. Even better, right? Now your 1.3 million could be much more. But that's the key, is if you put it into like salary terms, say you make $60,000 a year, which is around the US median household income. If you save 10% of the $60K a year, right, which is about, the $600 or whatever, you are literally going to have the money you need to retire, right? You're going to have the money you need to retire. Very, very, very important that you do that, right? So, which, and if you did 10%, let's say you did 10% on a $60,000 a year income, you're sitting at, that's your $500 a month, because that's $6,000 over 12 months. So $500 a month, 25 to 65, and you're over $1 million. You're over $1 million. So I'm telling you, if you are at around 27, get started investing. $500 a month, if at about a $60,000 income. If you make more than that, $500 is pretty easy. You make less than that, maybe you don't start at 500. Maybe you start at 3. Maybe you start at 2. But as you get raises, bump that up. You'll still hit $1 million. You'll build the habits, and you'll still hit $1 million. So don't wait. Get started today. That is the key. So where should you be by age? Where should you be? And I'm going to hit this really fast because I think that it's very important. But Fidelity suggests, kind of rule of thumb, by 30, you should have in retirement savings about 1 time your annual salary. So if you make $60,000, you should have $60,000. If you make $100,000, you should have $100,000. By 40, it's 3 times your salary. So 1.3, then 6 times your salary by 50, 8 times your salary by 60, 10 times your salary by 67, right? So if you earn $60,000 at 30, you should have about $60,000 saved. At 40, $180,000 saved. At 50, $360,000 saved. At 60, $480,000 saved, so forth and so on. Now, the thing is that if I'm saying these numbers and you're feeling behind, you're not alone, right? Because this isn't about shame. It's about awareness. It's about bringing awareness that you will start to prioritize investing into your retirement. Okay. So if you're thinking right now, like I'm 35 or I'm 45 or maybe I'm 55 and I've barely started, is it too late? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The trick is just different. You've got to save a higher percentage of your income. The good part about this is that you are probably making more money than said 27-year-old. Okay. So max out those employer 401k matches. That's free money. Use those catch-up contributions if you're above 50, right? Delay your retirement a few years. Maybe you have to work a little longer and work until 70 so you can not have to live on your nest egg for as long, right? And continue to contribute to it. That's another thing you can do, and avoid those lifestyle inflations because those will immediately impact that savings rate. So even if you've only got 20 years to save, if you can save $1,500 a month at like a 6 or 8%, you're over $700,000, right? That's a 6 to 8% return. That's a strong nest egg, right? It's a strong nest egg. And if you're not starting at 0, you're possibly going to be over $1 million, right? Just depending. So the hardest part about this whole thing, and this is where I want to leave you. The hardest part about the whole thing isn't math. And I've done an episode on this that talks about money is not a math equation. It's not. It's a mindset. It's emotions. Money, being successful with money has nothing to do with math. And the problem is that people try to put a math equation in front of people, and math doesn't motivate most people. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's that thing that makes me feel good is the thing I go buy, not the thing that I put in this account and you tell me in 20 years it's going to be a lot, right? It's different. So here's the truth. If you'll even start to invest $100 a month, that will compound to $242,000 if you'll start at 22. That's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Think of it like planting that tree. The best time was 20 years ago to plant that tree. The second best time to do it is right now. Investing is the exact same way. So the takeaway is this. The takeaway is that, yes, there is an ideal age. After 27, it does start to get a little bit more painful. After 37, yes, it will be extremely painful to save for retirement if you have not started. But it's not too late. The longer you wait, though, the more you'll have to contribute. So the key is Start early. If you can't, start now and get started, because your future self is counting on you to put money aside for retirement. And I promise you, your future self will be grateful you did. All the things that you forego to save for retirement, your future self will be grateful that you did that. So I believe in you. I know that you can get started today. I know that you can figure out a way, whether it's $100, $200, $300, it doesn't matter. Start to build your future. Start today. So I hope you got something out of this episode. The biggest thing I wanted to take away is that, yes, there is an ideal age. Yes, it's not too late. Because I think that a lot of people, when they hear start early, they immediately think like, oh man, I should have started when I was 18. Sure. If you could have started when you're 18, yes, that is better. But starting up from 18 to 27, you're not missing out, right? You're getting your career kicked off. Cool. You get it kicked off by 25. Yes, please start. I'm begging you, please start. But if you're 35 and you haven't started, you should be logging in right now. Turn off this episode, go log into an account and get started today. If your employer does 401ks, 403bs, yes, go sign up today to start investing in it. Start investing in it. Whether it's 10%, 15%, get started. Just get started. So if you found this episode helpful, leave a comment in the comment section below and share it with your friends and family. But like I said, I hope you got something out of it. It's always good to talk about retirement, because it's supposed to be a joyful time in your life. And for most, people dread it because they're just not ready. So let's get ready today. So till next week, continue improving the one thing you can control, yourself. Peace.
Well, that wraps up today's Financial Mirror. Join us next week as we continue to work on ourselves, change our mentality, and to commit to achieving the success we always envisioned. Regardless of your platform, help us grow as a community. Please like, subscribe, and share with the people in your lives.